Let's get into it.
It's power time. Get ready, let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Powertime. This is the long-awaited predictions episode, and we couldn't have a predictions episode if we didn't bring back to the show Nathan Backers and Brent O'Toole, who did our predictions show, if everyone remembers, 12 months ago now. And I'm joined here with Matt, my co-host as well. Nathan, Brent, probably not everyone knows who you are, so a quick intro on who you are, and then we'll get into what we think our predictions are for next year, and more importantly, have a bit of fun covering off the ones just briefly that we predicted last year that probably didn't work or come out. That's true. So anyway, Nathan, over to you. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, nice to meet everybody. If I haven't met you before, my name's Nathan Backers. Maybe we start that one again. But yeah,
just keep rolling, mate. Just keep rolling.
Name's Nathan Backers. I'm a Power Platform solution engineer. I work in Scott's team. Really hard bloke to work for. But and just
we'll unpack that later, Nathan. Don't worry.
Yeah.
No, but I work in Scott's team. So yeah, look across Copilot Studio and Power Platform specifically. But yeah, solution engineer, and I hand over to Brent.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. And yeah, g'day to everyone listening at home, I guess, is probably what you wanted to say there, Nathan. But yeah, Brent O'Toole, I'm a solution engineer, also in Scotty's team. Can confirm he's pretty hard to work for, but he flogs us pretty hard. Nah. So it's going to turn into the roast of Scott on this episode, I think. But yeah, I look after everything from Dynamics 365, like CRM side of applications, so sales, customer insights, service, and the contact center, as well as Copilot Studio and all things kind of AI, which is probably where we're going to focus a lot of our predictions today.
All right, awesome. So Matt, you've had a pretty busy couple of weeks. Any highlights you want to share with the team and our listeners who always get a good laugh over your
me my antics?
Yeah,
okay. I went and saw my friend fight on the Tim Zoo car. That was a bit of a highlight. So he won, which was good.
Yeah,
that was the first of the 4-day quadrilla that I called it. So I had a few Christmas parties on and a lot of that kind of stuff. A bit of a celebration to the festive season, which was good. Took our team out at Get AI, which was really good fun as well on the Thursday. And then Friday, caught up with my good friend, Uncle Johnny, Uncle JK. So that was good to catch up with him. And then had the boxing Christmas party on Saturday. So yeah, well and truly over it and ready to get back to my health kick that I'm on at the moment. So I'm actually off to Colorado in January for a client meeting, which will be pretty cool. So I'm going to hit the slopes for that one. And then I'm New York in May as well next year. So we can delve on those as part of the predictions. But it has been a busy time to the year. It's been a crazy year. Every time I look at the clock, I can't believe we're so close to Christmas. But yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind from a year. But really exciting. A lot of momentum for Get AI. So I was super excited about that. But what about yourself, mate? What have you been up to over the last sort of couple of weeks?
It's been super busy. Again, we'll probably air this first couple of weeks into Jan. So in a couple of weeks' time, it's right on the end of the year now. But yeah, just I can't believe how fast everything's moving right now. And it seems like only yesterday we were doing these predictions. So yeah, next year is going to be no different, I think, as we kind of move into it. But yeah, just catching up with people has been kind of the theme over the last few weeks, and just tying off some loose ends because I'm coming into a few weeks leave, which is great. So I'm looking forward to taking a few weeks off and just relaxing and taking the kids up to Bucking Caves, which is near Lakes Entrance Way. So yeah, really looking forward to that over the break.
Nice.
Awesome. So last year when we did the predictions, the way we worked it was 2 predictions and 1 fringe prediction that we think might come true, right? So let's do the year that was in review. So Matt, your top prediction was I'm gonna read it now. I'm looking at the run sheet. Was something big will drop that nobody predicts. So I'm keen to hear what you're going to say. The last 12 months has dropped that we wouldn't have predicted, or no one in the world has predicted. Give it to us. What is it?
Either Agent 365 is new and something that, I don't know. But I guess we kind of could predict that an agent would have their own unique identifier and stuff like that. So I think that's a bit of a fail. I think there's a vibe.powerups, like the lovable compete within power-ups, but I think Nathan's kind of stolen my thunder with that one with his potential predictions. So I don't think that one's really come off. I think the rate of which AI has evolved probably hasn't got to where we kind of expected it to as well over the last sort of year. I think, this time last year we didn't know. Obviously, that was my prediction, but yeah, I think it's still an evolving beast about where it's going to end up and stuff like that. So I'll probably mark that one as a bit of a fail, unless someone can answer that question for me and I'll slip them a 50. So I'm totally fine for that. But yeah,
fail. That's like saying
fail. Thanks,
there's
mate.
the big. I think big's going to drop in AI is like saying the sun's hot or rain's going to be wet.
It's kind of like that. It's pretty generic.
I could put on my Trump voice and say, with the beautiful AI, like this kind of stuff like Trump voice on.
My big prediction was I thought we'd see a big shift in quantum this year, like something drop. Clearly we didn't.
I think it's definitely progress. There's been progress in that space, Scott, but like there's been a few like quantum announcements and different evolutions of it. But yeah, I think nothing major, like in terms of we are, going through encryption, everyone's encryption using quantum just yet.
Yeah, and I think probably last year we had the most amount of quantum movement, I think, if you want to call it that. So definitely that one is probably a failure. Brent, you were predicting, you didn't have it out there. You just had a big lift in customer experience.
Yeah, I think we've seen that. And I think in the last 12 months, we've probably the adoption of AI in the customer experience, it's probably been the hardest kind of egg to crack in terms of getting customers comfortable with allowing that ambiguity of AI or that kind of not directive or not distinctive responses that we've seen in the past with chatbots and, very scripted responses. I think that's kind of been the hardest hurdle to get through with customers, but there's definitely been kind of an uplift, I would say, in appetite to explore it. There's still obviously deterministic processes that need to happen within any customer experience because it's your voice, your brand, your everything. It's how you engage with your customers. But yeah, I think there's been some progress there.
I think, what something's been really interesting this year is when we kind of opened the gates and let the horses out, this time last year, there was a lot of upside around what we thought AI could do. And I think all of us have really tried really hard to kind of get it out in front of our customers. And at the end of this year, the stat is 95% of AI proof of concepts have failed. So that's really, really interesting, right? Because it means that we're building some really good prototypes, but customers haven't been able to adopt them in production. And I think your prediction around customer experience would have accelerated a lot more if we had more success at being able to crack that nut of how we get it into a customer environment for that, because a lot of it is really just strong governance. So, I think at the end of the day, it's about working with customers to make sure that they feel really secure rolling out the AI and that we have governance controls that can really help with that. So
I think it's also this year been AI literacy thing with customers as well. Matt, how many times have you gone into a customer and said AI can't do that, or what you're trying to do may not be AI, it may actually just be traditional automation that you're looking for in that regard.
Yeah,
mate, literally 75% of the use cases is Power Automate workflows. And Nathan's been on a few calls with me recently as well. This is Power Automate. But yeah, it's been a bit wild about that. So I think we'll identify more of those AI specific use cases next year once the customers actually understand where they can push that technology. It's really about where a human is making a deterministic decision, about if X do this, all that kind of stuff. So I think this year's been a bit of an educational piece to the customers as well. That AI is not this silver bullet that's going to solve all your problems. The core of it is still solving that business process or business pain point. So I'm assuming there's a lot of conversations that everyone on this podcast at the moment has had as well. But yeah, literally 75% of it, 80% of it's still just an automation at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah. And so Nathan, your highlight for your prediction was, well, your fringe, your out there one was more wearables, because I think we were kind of expecting Sam Altman to drop some more AI kind of wearables out into market. That didn't happen. So,
it did hire the right guy to do that, but didn't he? So yeah.
Yeah, he did, right? So I thought we thought he'd move fast on that, but I guess it's when you think about it, it's probably a prediction for next year because you've got, it will probably take them a year to spin up around, design, being able to get the thing produced, work with your supply chains and get it out to market. Like it probably takes longer than a year to do that. So yeah, maybe that was just a little earlier. And the other ones you've got were really platform specific around intelligent apps and plan design are starting to come together. What do
I'll back him on that one.
you think so? Like I think plan design is still.
You got a Hail Mary at the end of the year with Vibe.power apps.
From the first
Brad read it. See Brad read it. Yeah.
Sam Altman didn't come to the party, but Mark Zuckerberg did. He released the Meta Wayfarers, which I've seen a few people wear around the office. So if people are wearing around the office, chalk that one up as a win. So cha-ching.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I'll back you.
Yeah, other one was more around vibe coding experiences and Power Platform, sort of transitioning more towards plan designer being the focal point of how people develop. And I think the announcement a couple of weeks ago at Ignite around vibe.powerapps.com. Yeah, it's really exciting stuff happening in that space. You can see Power Platform as it's being pitched as being reborn into something else to generate full code, full stack applications.
Yeah,
I think there's some exciting stuff to come in that space.
Just on the OpenAI device, maybe you can have a bit of a sub prediction about what that device is actually going to be that they're building. So maybe that's for the back end of the show. Yeah.
If there was an AI device that was just solely based off ChatGPT, for instance, or Claude or pick any of the models, what device would be the one you'd wear, right? I'm kind of stuck on a watch, right?
Yeah.
I'll probably ditch the Apple Watch to go with a OpenAI maybe. It's the least user interface kind of device that I use. I think a phone, I'm still wedded to banking apps and all these kind of stuff. I can't see voice replacing that. So maybe some headphones. I think maybe glasses. I don't know.
I think it's a hard one because you always you still want something that you can access with your eyes, right? Like it's the medium and the senses that you're engaging with. So like voice is great, but like I don't want to walk out in the street and just start talking to my headphones all the time. It will look like I'm on the phone all the time. And if that's the only interaction I have with whatever the device is, that's really like one medium instead of, like, I don't know, maybe we'd be able to smell it. Who knows? Like, there's also like a societal point of view. Like, would you have the same conversation with somebody that's wearing glasses that are recording that you would if they weren't? I particularly wouldn't. Yeah, it's the old lens fear. Like when you see the lens, you go, I can freeze.
Yeah.
So I think there's some impacts on how we just interact as humans that need to be taken into account. And I think we'll talk about that when we get to our next predictions. But I think some of I think there's kind of going to be a bit of a turning back of AI in society point of view. Like I think that people are going to get a bit of fatigue in this space. Nobody wants to feel like Big Brother's watching all the time, so to speak. So, I think there's good and bad to it. So,
I don't think we've got the language models operating on the edge yet, really. So, I think there's a fair bit of work to do there before we get to that true AI-driven kind of hardware. So, anyway, good prediction, solid, Nathan. I will call out one of my predictions last year was that Gen AI built applications become normal. SaaS apps get interrupted or disrupted. I think we've seen that, right? Like I think that's a win. And shift from AI experiments to ROI. We definitely saw a lot of that. So that were pretty solid, I thought. So I think we kind of get 50-50 on our predictions last year on not saying that the ones that we predicted were not going to come true. They might very well come true next year. So just depends on how the industry goes. So awesome. Well, that's our looking back.
Hang on. Before we go on, wasn't there a bet of a steak dinner for whoever was the most accurate? I vaguely remember this happening last year. So
we'll have
the third umpire check the recording. All right, well, third umpire.
I vaguely remember there being some form of wager. I'm pretty sure it was a steak.
Hang on a minute. How many steak dinners?
The Stecker.
Anyway,
yeah. The Stecker.
Matt, lock in the Stecker next year.
All right, let's do it. Anyway, we've got to go to the Stecker.
Those listening that don't know, that's an awesome restaurant in Sydney. We all love to go and dine at. So, really unique restaurant because you have to hand in your mobile phone when you get there. So,
no AI.
Got to be comfortable with that. So,
Big brother ain't watching.
Yeah.
Have to hand in your
Yeah.
glasses. You can't
Yeah,
read.
yeah.
I
And your
don't have to
watch.
do my watch. So, yeah. All
Take
right,
you 15 minutes to get in 5 years. You're taking off all your devices. AI to go dump them in the box. So, yeah. Yeah.
all right. Well, let's kick into the predictions for the next 12 months. You've had a year to think about it, digest where we're at. Who wants to go first? Brent.
Yeah, I can go first. I think like my predictions, I had to have a think, and then I used a bit of AI to come up with them because obviously we don't know what's happening tomorrow with OpenAI, and they released a new image model this week, and they release new codex versions like this week as well. Their Christmas litmus or whatever they call it, shipmas that they've been going through at the moment. So it's pretty hard to do any kind of predictions at the moment. But like one of the ones that I'm seeing a lot in customers at the moment, starting baby steps but getting pretty mature in this space, is that your customer relationship system stops becoming the traditional CRM and it becomes invisible. So the concept of, what we're seeing in market with some of our products around M365 surfacing, meetings to me. So the core data itself as an intelligence layer and being behavioral memory is kind of the next evolution. I see that coming in our products already, but that's probably a surefire prediction for next year's steak dinner ticket, is CRMs becoming that behavioral memory database layer, and then the user interface kind of augmenting around that, whatever that is in the flow of work. I think that's kind of a key one that we're seeing at the moment. And you see it with like Copilot for Sales is now in M365 Copilot. So you're seeing it already coming into like the world work ecosystem. And I think that's kind of a key one. And that feeds sales, marketing, service, like they all read from the same memory. I think there's a lot of other vendors out there at the moment that have a hard time with that because of the way that they've got legacy issues with their SaaS platforms that they've architected. So I think Microsoft's probably the best place to be for that, in playing in that space in the work enterprise context.
I don't think SaaS is dead. I feel like
SaaS is not dead.
I feel like Satu was really pulling the trigger too early on that. I get what he's saying, that the UI is changing, but I don't feel like when we talk to customers, I still heavily feel like they still want a CRM and they still want a structured UI for their teams, but they want to use AI to kind of augment that experience. We haven't really seen that, hey, here's the autonomous agent that's going to take out hundreds of jobs. That was also, I think, a lot of people were predicting that was going to kind of take place this year. It hasn't. I think that's pretty much, we can say, myth busted. AI is there to support humans. It's not there to replace humans, I think. That's, what I feel. But Matt, actually, first, Brent, before you go, who do you think is going to be the leader in large language at the end of next year?
That's such a hard one because all of them are just like smidgens above each other as soon as they ship a new model. I still I want to back the OG and go OpenAI with like what they're doing. But again, we've seen Gemini come out recently with pretty much vengeance and put a big scare at OpenAI with Altman calling like a code red to focus come back in. So I don't know if your wearable for OpenAI is going to come out next year either because of the code red. But I think they're still placed well to lead in this space. But again, I don't think the future is like which model's the best in terms of generalization. I think it's what's best in the specialized use case that you're using it for. So, for example, like I'm not going to use OpenAI to go and generate songs, but I'll use Suno to go and generate songs because that product has AI in it. But it's like OpenAI will never do that part of the AI tool or task or thing that I want to do. So I think there's probably going to be a lot more players in this space. Like I'm really keen to see personally like where video goes and like real time video analysis. Like I'm working on a little side project at the moment around race cars and motorsports and live, video being taken. How can I use AI to kind of do image processing on that to get certain frames or certain shots of the car? I think there's a lot more to come in that space. But again, I don't think it's going to be a world leading model that kind of wins. It's going to be the holistic, everyone gets lifted up together, and then all these independent vendors and users will go and use the models that they want to. And it's like an iPhone Android conversation at this point. Like some people are going to use Gemini because they're in the Google ecosystem, and I'm going to use Apple and OpenAI, and now they've gone with Google again. So I don't know who they're going to go with in the end, but like I'll use whatever device ecosystem I've already bought into. Amazon's going to do their own with Anthropic. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. I think Elon was talking about obviously moving a lot of this stuff to space as well. Yeah. So SpaceX is obviously going to be huge when it comes to being actually able to generate that power as well. So that's a future state prediction as well. But yeah, Elon's obviously the right person to be doing that. So yeah.
If we pull the thread, if we pull the thread on, power being the limiting factor for really sophisticated language models, you would have to say that China will take the lead next year.
Yeah.
Because they have the most amount of nuclear power in the world right now. So if they don't have that as a limiting factor, then yeah, we should see some pretty amazing things come out of DeepSeek.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of the way. Well, it'd be interesting to see. But, there's another really big pivot this year, which we kind of didn't see coming, which was kind of that separation between Microsoft and OpenAI. And Microsoft is now the platform, right? Like it's
we've got Claude Power Platform now, and M365 Copilot.
That happened very quickly. Even the new Kua has the latest Anthropic visual model as well. That just got dropped in last week. We're one of the first partners globally to be using it. Yeah. We're actually testing it directly with product team at the moment.
So, wow.
So Kua, for those listening in who don't know what it is computer use agents. So it's the ability to be able to, screen grab, screen record it, and do AI actions off the back of it in our Copilot Geo products. So.
It's a good segue to my prediction as well, Scott. So
wait, before we go to you, Brent has to drop. What is the out there prediction? What's
out there? It's not really out there, but I think what I'm noticing at the moment, and we're kind of talking about this before with AI literacy, like I think we're going to notice the customers, like it's the old car example. Everyone that's going to buy a car already walks into the dealership and knows what they want already when they walk in. They know they want the Honda Civic and they know they want it in this color, and they know it's just a formality to go in and talk to the car salesman. I think that's going to be what AI becomes for us as technical leaders in this space, in solution engineers. Like he's talking to the customer will know a lot more. And even today, some conversations I'm having with customers, they know a lot more about me, and we can't be expected to know everything, but we try to in terms of like living and breathing in the industry. But I think that's going to get a lot deeper and a lot like higher, that literacy bar with customers. And I think that will help us in terms of them already knowing, and Matt, you not needing to have those 75% conversations around what are the limiting bounds of AI.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we're going to see the next 12 months. Like the last 12 has been, what is AI? How does it work? What does it do? And then the next 12 months is finding the limits, and then where do we allow it to kind of step into that process and allow it to do that task, that activity, that process in the background. I think that's kind of where businesses are going to start to like do their risk profiles, really, like is what I talk to my customers about, is like, what are you risk comfortable with in terms of, allowing that process to be fully autonomous, semi-autonomous, or requires human in the loop at stage A and stage C, and B does automation through AI. So I think that's kind of not out there, but I think it's something that I'm going to probably say is going to happen over the next 12 months. And when we come back next year, we'll have the same discussion. I'll say, should have baselined it. They're a lot smarter and their literacy's gone up a lot. And I've even had customers like teams, IT teams in organizations in my customers come to me and go, how can I get up to speed fast? We already feel like we're behind. And I'm like, well, that's good. Everyone in the space feels like that.
Everyone's behind. Yeah.
Everyone is behind at the moment. Everyone's still trying to work out, what is an agent? What can I let it do? How does it work? How does it integrate? What's an MCP? Like all these different new words that we weren't talking about 12 months. I think that's kind of where we're going in that space. So as long as we can help our customers do that, I think that's key as well.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, over to you. What do you think? 12 months.
The rise of the personal AI assistant. And what I mean by that is you talk to your AI and be like, hey, I'm going out with a group of my mates tonight. This is what we're thinking for dinner. Suggest some options, then ultimately go book the dinner and stuff like that. So we'll have more of these AI assistants that will be using some of these visual models to actually complete the task as well. I've been working really closely with some of these visual models. They're actually pretty good and pretty decent, but I think now that we kind of understand a bit more what AI can do from us from a day-to-day basis, that rise of that really powerful personal assistant from a day-to-day standpoint, not just in work context. Yeah, obviously with Copilot and stuff like that, all those types of things. But I think we'll start to leverage AI a bit more to actually complete some of these tasks for us from a personal assistant standpoint. But that's kind of my safe prediction. I'm building one for myself at the moment. That's kind of what I've been playing around with as well about how I can do that. But that would be my prediction that I just thought about at the start of the show because so,
Well, I've got the perfect on that. Like, hi AI, Nathan, Brent, Scott, Matt. We're all going out for steaks at Prosecco. Can you book it in? And also, we want to go to the UFC next month. Book the tickets, like that sort of.
Correct. That will start to become a bit more relevant. Yeah.
There's a couple of interesting things on that, right? Because we know like our product is roadmap to have OpenAI Advanced Voice for a contact center in it. So that's a game changer next year. But if you think about it, for the scenario that you're talking about, Matt, if you operate a e-commerce site or operate a, even just simple bookings, you're a hairdresser, you book people in, and you're not thinking about enabling some kind of agent for MCP or A kind of protocol to work, you're crazy because it just leaves the only option as being Kua, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of screen grab, go click on here to go book something.
Yeah.
But I think the future is this API to API, chatbot to chatbot
For sure.
kind of, handshake of communication. I just think it's going to take 5 years for that to come out into the wild.
Yeah. I think there's a complexity with like letting the AI use my credit card. Like, I think that's a thing that humans are going to be a bit, cautious of. Like, even the concept itself is convenient, but the security implications and like even banks turning up, now an MFA is like a requirement for nearly every bank now to log in and use apps and devices with their products. Like, I think that's kind of going to be a delicate balancing act as we move towards that kind of e-commerce purchasing framework, letting AI do, purchasing for us. But I mean, the similar concept exists for Amazon. Like, you can ask, I can't say the word because it'll probably turn on, but you can ask your to, go and order me pizza or order me, more toilet paper, and it'll go and do it automatically. But I think that that's still a deterministic process, and that it's in that ecosystem. I think the openness of book me a hairdresser appointment or buy UFC tickets on Ticketek, or like, there's a lot of, flexibility in terms of that.
I think we'll move away from APIs in general and just MCP to MCP. Everything will be an MCP server in the future, and then just agents orchestrating and interacting with one another. So, not really a bold prediction, because you start to see that with a lot of the announcements that we already announced over the last couple of weeks with, Copilot Studio agents. You can now turn into its own MCP server, and Power Apps that you've built you can now turn into an MCP server, for example. But every consumable service will effectively have an MCP that you can just call upon, and that's where the personal assistant can interact with.
I'd like to see it go to advanced voice though, rather than chat, if we can.
I think it's
easier to do instructions,
right? Like I think the compute's probably the issue there.
Yeah, probably. Well, again, it comes down to power, right? Like, here's the power rose. So, what's your bold one, Matt? What do you got?
We will see something that we haven't seen or spoken about.
Doing that 2 years in a row, right?
Why not? It's a good prediction. We'll see something soon.
A stake in the ground for a stake.
A stake in it. Well, Brent went really safe, all right? His predictions, come on. He had the eyes on the stake moving forward, mate. He played it safe here. There will be something come out, whether it's the OpenAI device or all this kind of stuff. We'll just see this mic drop open next year. We've had 12 months of kind of, revolving, all this kind of stuff. We're going to see something just go bang next year, and we'll just
go, a piece of hardware of some description?
Potentially. Yeah. Potentially. I don't know what it is. But
I think if we don't see something go bang next year, we could very well end up in a bubble and the stock prices dropping on.
I agree with you on that one as well. Yeah.
We just might have to build it ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's do it for us, right? Let's just go.
The Powertime wearable, yeah, that's right. So, yeah.
Let me get Power Studio up and running first, so then we'll.
That's actually a pretty good job by you on that one. So you did well.
Nathan, over to you. What do you got?
All right, so my safe prediction. So I actually heard about this concept from one of the guests that you've had on your podcast before, David Walker, which is this concept around world models. So I hadn't heard of it until I heard him speak about it, but I've done a bit of research in the background, and from a real layman's point of view, effectively what it is, it's not an LLM, but it's an AI that can build a rough simulation of the world. It takes into account things like cause and effect, basically like reasoning on steroids. If you think about today's AI models and compare it to something like autocomplete, world models effectively can be used in conjunction with LLMs that make it effectively a chess player. So it can think, 5, 10 steps ahead. So I think that because that concept already exists, I think you'll start to see agents with world model capability start to really enhance and become more humanistic next year. So yeah, when we talk about that level 3 of transformation where we're doing, agents are doing the stuff in the background and us as humans are just kind of like the agent boss, so to speak. I think, world models are really going to accelerate that. So some might consider that to be out there. Some might say that that's safe, but my out there one is that Power Platform will become the enterprise standard for enterprise development inside internal organizations. So if you have a solution that you want to build, Power is the default. You
Really?
start to see the shift with, buy.powerapps.com being able to generate full stack applications. You can round trip it in IDEs, develop it a VS Code if you want to, whatever.
Yeah.
Bring code from other platforms as well and deploy it to Power so you can get all the benefits of the governance and integration capabilities. I just think it will become the standard in the future, irrespective of if you're a business maker or a professional developer. Obviously, we're not there now. Everybody has a tool of choice, but I think that given how strong the governance is in this space, and that's probably one of the key concerns around deployment and time to value. So yeah, that's kind of my bold prediction.
It kind of
That's a
has
good
to
one.
move in that direction, doesn't it? Like otherwise,
Well, there's a shift, wasn't there, about 6-12 months ago? We were like, oh, where's Canvas apps going to go? We can kind of develop all this stuff in Pro Code, but now they've just got bang and drop this stuff at the end of the year. You can kind of see that, they got that stranglehold on it now as well, which is really good. So, yeah.
but I mean, it's just UI design, right? Like how you design the app's going to change over the next 12 months. And it's an interesting play, Nathan. I think I definitely have said for a long time that Power Plat should have ability to be able to, have Pro Code on the platform and even host it as a web app inside of Azure and all these kind of stuff. So I think they're missing a trick there. So yeah, interesting.
It probably plays into like what we see in customers a lot as well. And, there's a lot of hype around agents at the moment. And I think all of our predictions are like personal assistants and moving away from even having an application. But at the end of the day, if you drill down on a lot of these scenarios, like Matt said, 75% of them stuff that you probably could have done for the last 5 years, but, you slap an agent in front of it and it makes it sexy for organizations and then budget there to go.
Let's get more budget there. Yeah, AI.
But I think if you actually have a look at these processes and think about what the user experience needs to be, how they're actually going to manage it, get into the day of the life of the actual end user, there still absolutely is a place for applications and having that rich user experience. It doesn't need to be the entire end-to-end process. Like, I think that sort of plays into the MCP server for Power Apps being released, which means that you can build an application and expose it as an MCP server and consume that in an agentic experience or a chat experience as well. You don't want to go to the full experience. But in some cases, if you're manipulating bulk amounts of data and you need to go and validate what the agent's doing is correct, then, sometimes my personal preference anyway is that, sometimes an application is better for certain parts of that process. So
Yeah.
I feel like there's absolutely a place for apps in the future until some of this stuff, needs to make a whole bunch more of advancements until we really get to that space where you just say a sentence and it understands everything and can solve everything. I think we're a fair way away from there, yeah.
I think it's kind of what Bill Gates says, right? When he was saying that we kind of overestimate what we could do in 2 years and underestimate what we can get done in 10 years. I kind of see that with the platform, Nathan, like right now. It's definitely a platform play with our customers for governance, AI, and capability. But I don't think our customers are really ready for full autonomous yet. And I think having the human in the loop, I really like these orchestrated apps where, it's using intelligence from automation to surface even a brand new kind of sub UI within the UI, just all through prompting. So I think we're getting a lot better at
It's something I've definitely noticed with customers as well is they don't want that ambiguity of chat just being an open text field. They want the structure. I think I had a customer the other day literally say, I don't want my sellers to waffle a chat agent over voice, because they will waffle. Like, they will just keep talking and talking. I want it to have more structure. These are the fields that I need to put into the database. So have a call response method to get them out of the person instead of letting them just dribble, essentially. So I think there's going to be more structure required around that, and more, human psychology elements coming into it around, like, what's the most efficient way to do it. Talking to AI for 20 minutes and getting 3 lines out of it is not as effective as having a 2-minute conversation and getting 30 lines of content out of it to put into a database. Like, I think that's kind of going to be the flip.
Well, Gartner is saying now that they think that, we're going to have 50% less screen time on a CRM app in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think that's probably the evolution. It's like, I still use a sales app for CRM and customer service and things, but I've got an agent running around going, hey, Scott, you mentioned about this. Do you want me to commit it to your database? And,
Yeah.
Hey, do you want me to update your comments on this? Or do you want me to go chase this lead for you? And I'll call the customer and ask them a question, and then I'll go back and update, the database, which is Dataverse for us. So I think that kind of interaction will reduce screen time, and also deep integration to Office as well will make a big impact there too. So, which is a good thing, right? Like, you don't want your sellers stuck in. You don't talk to customers. You don't want them stuck in an admin screen. So
you don't want to talk to an AI agent. Like,
we make this. We put this line in the sand about, what is a pro code tool versus what is a low code tool, and there's fit for certain audiences. But I don't know if you've ever sort of gone in and used like Microsoft Foundry. There's not too much stuff in what's technically classified as a pro code tool that you actually need to code anymore. Everything's mostly click configurable. It's pretty easy to use. Yes, you do need to understand some data principles and some fundamental sort of development principles to understand what certain functions are. But there's not too many products out there at all now that you need to go and fully code everything anyway. Like, I think it's just more of an education thing about enterprise scalability. And yeah, I think that you'll start to see that the lines blur a lot more about this hard line in the sand, that this is for pro developers and this is for low code developers, and you must use this if you're this persona. I think that that'll just become grayer and grayer as all these products.
Do you not think, Nathan, it just moves up the stack? So now, it's all about no code versus low code, because pro code becomes low code effectively.
Yeah, pretty much. I think
that's kind of the evolution of it. Yeah.
Like you see,
it's like lovable base 44 versus building, right? Like,
yeah. And if you can, like, I guess it's the extensibility part as well. So there's, strictly no code tools like App Builder that they released in M365 Copilot, which is personal productivity. But, you can start building in, say, Power, and if you need to go and extend it, and there are parts of that process that you do need to then go and actually, do a code snippet for or whatever, then you can absolutely go and do that. But for the most part, it's still going to be low code anyway. I just feel like there's that sort of, because we classified Power Platform as a low code tool for many years now, I think that there's this sort of stigma around what it actually is and what it means. But realistically, a lot of the tools that even professional developers now use are low code. Yeah, I think that's when you hear like the commentary from Charles and so on and so forth that low code's dead. I think it's probably pretty accurate in the sense that the way that we think about it traditionally is dead, and we need to kind of rethink about what it actually means, because pretty much everything's low code now.
And for those listening in who don't know who Charles is, Charles Levin is our president for engineering across our business solutions. So, but I'll just add that snippet in there, Nathan.
Yeah. To give some context, yeah.
So, look, I think they're all valid points, and you'd have to say that next year will be the rise of a lot more applications. If it's so easy to build apps now, and then I think we'll see that rise of a lot more apps being built. So, yeah. Interesting.
That's even more important.
Have you done your big prediction, or was that it?
Yeah, no, Power Platform is I think that's pretty bold to say that's the default for enterprise.
All right. We'll lock that in for the sake. Yeah. All right.
Very safe, guys. Very safe. Looks like I'm buying dinner. Looks like I'm buying dinner next year. So anyway, all good. And this year. Anyway.
My turn to have a crack at the steak dinner at Prosecco, courtesy of Ghetto.
All right.
Look, I think at the end of the day, I think next year's all about China. Like I said it earlier, I really think it is. I think they're going to release a DeepSeek model that's just going to be crazy because they're going to access, I think they'll have their supply chain around GPU sorted. I think they've definitely got access to power. And I think that we're going to see a lot more come from China into kind of Western countries. Might even see us adopting those kind of models. Be interesting to see if OpenAI can kind of chase it down. You would say if you look at the prediction, or the predictions that we've had, last year I said that Elon Musk would overtake with his Colossus kind of data center OpenAI by March. I think he did it in July. It's really interesting, right? Because OpenAI had a 2-year head start on the market. And then you got Gemini last year and Elon like catching Sam and overtaking within about 6 months. So I definitely think we'll see something big out of Elon as well. Like I think he's probably sitting on the next kind of iteration. But also, having a look at where Google is right now, I dare say, maybe that's a bold statement is maybe Gemini will run on Azure. Maybe we're going to see Google.
Mate, that's a bold
statement.
That's the out there one.
Yeah.
That'd be very, very interesting to see that happen. But, you think about it, like, if you're the clear market leader in AI, you can do a lot of things, right? So I think, that's going to be a really interesting war next year to see what goes on. For my big and bold prediction, though, it's got to be robotics, right? Like, I don't know if you all saw the K-pop dancing from the robots on stage last week over in China. One of their bands where had all these droids like dancing as dancers. It just looked amazing, right? Like, and I just think I think you add another couple of versions, we get to GPT-6 next year and 7 even, we're going to see like amazing capabilities out of robots. And I think that's coming. The droid wars are coming, and I think we've got to get ready for it because they're going to be able to roll into our homes and do some amazing things, particularly in healthcare and all this kind of stuff.
I think Nvidia is doing a fair bit in that space as well. Like Jensen's last big press event was like, oh, here's the H100 Blackwells, and then also here's what we're doing in robotics and factory automation and all this other cool stuff that we use to pre-train and simulate. And like to Nathan's point, like those world models of like them being able to compute and train robots without building the robot itself. It's all just code and software and machine learning in the background to like learn how to walk, for example. Like it's pretty.
It was interesting. Yeah. Well, that world map stuff that Nathan was talking about, I was listening to Source 3, another podcast the other day, and that interviewed a couple of AI, lecturers that have just released a new model kind of app that they're just taking to model now, to out to the world now, a world model. So, and that looks really, really interesting. So simulated worlds over and over and over again. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, that space, it's not something that I've ever been involved in, but this ability to be able to simulate an entire world and train a robot or train AI is, I think next year is really going to take off, Nathan. I think it's a really solid prediction that we'll see a lot more of that.
Do you reckon reality will come back?
Well, I don't think is Meta coming back? I don't know. That would be super interesting if that did. So I'm not quite sure. Like if I talk to 5 people, 3 people get sick using VR and 2 people don't. So
have you ever seen the movie Changing? Is it Sliding Doors or Changing Doors? The one with Gwyneth Paltrow where she misses as a train.
Sliding Doors.
Sliding Doors. So imagine if a world model you could use like an augmented reality sort of experience that if I done this particular path or I went to this job interview or I done this is what my life's going to be like. I don't know if that's possible.
yeah.
Interesting.
Playing on the psychology of humans, and there'll be a lot of issues after that, like which universe play in.
Maybe those folk in San Fran are accurate. Like maybe we are in the world model right now. This is the world model.
He's got we're simulation. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We got him
here. Too late for this kind of stuff.
So you're saying robotics will be out by next year in households or something like that? What's your?
Yeah, I'm saying I think it'll still be for the wealthy, but I think we'll see some really useful droids next year in people's houses.
I think it'll take a while. Remember that like kitchen that like could cook for you like as a robot? Does anyone remember that? It was like 4 years ago. This company tried to release this like $400,000 like
I saw that.
Like that cooks for you as a robot. Like
There's like 4 startups now that have under 20 grand kind of robots.
Yeah,
Obviously there's that fake one that, there's remote controlling the robot, but
the guy,
I think,
the guy that's in it, like,
I think what I think is the hardware's really sorted now. Like if you look at what China's producing, like they've got arms and legs and things like this that they just produce that can lift a huge amount of kilos now. And there was a release of a new droid a couple of weeks ago doing martial arts, and they had to turn it down because it was kicking too hard. And the CEO was complaining when it kicked him, right? So, I think we've got kind of the skeleton.
Let me add him.
Yeah. So now, if you think robots should now scale with scaling laws, so they should, go 5 to 10x or 5 to 6x each year in advancements because it's really the software that's the limiting factor. So with these world models that are getting dropped right now, to Nathan's point, training them, and with the ability to be able to scale out very large data centers, we could very well see, some really intelligent kind of robots. Robots could be the best use for AI that exists today, right? Like,
Probably, yeah.
yeah.
Back to the kind of point, this is kind of another prediction. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but like a bit of a fatigue around AI. I don't think so much for business, because I think there's plenty of benefit from a business perspective that, AI is going to transform. But from a personal perspective, like you look at social media these days, nobody knows what's real and what's fake anymore.
yeah,
Like I just get to a point at the end of the day, I'm just like, I need to switch off from technology and get away from it. I don't want a robot to cook me dinner, because personally I find it relaxing to do that at the end of the day, and it kind of winds down. So there's all these things that, I like to just go out in the boat and not have my phone on me and
gone fishing, like,
go back to bare basics. So I kind of feel like as a society, we might get a little bit more fatigued, particularly from a personal point of view or a consumer point of view, and just go back to some more basic stuff. Like I want to go away one weekend and just go to an island where I have no reception and no power and just live like a caveman type thing. That's like that type. I think, just as a society, we might have a little bit of fatigue when it comes to AI, but from a business perspective, I think it's probably the opposite.
Yeah.
Isn't that what sci-fi? Isn't that what Star Wars has been telling us all these years? The robots are just there to do all those remedial. They're going to go to the
Yeah.
What was it? The
watched it.
What am I saying?
Yeah. Probably should watch it first, and I'll let you know.
Yeah. Watch it. For those, there's a bombshell, right? Here's a prediction: Nathan Backers will watch Star Wars next year because he's never seen it. So
You shouldn't be in tech if you haven't watched Star Wars. So
A lot of references that I get.
yeah. Well, I just think, those droids on that show are there to kind of help. It's like if you watch Star Trek as well, you'll see the AI is there as an assistant to control stuff that we don't have the intelligence to do, like warp speed, all this kind of stuff. So, I think we're moving forward into that, but not at the rate we'd like. It's back to Bill Gates' philosophy around in 10 years, we probably will, but not in the next 2 to 3. So, yeah. Interesting stuff. All right, gentlemen. Well, that's been a fantastic conversation. Any last minute predictions before we call it an end to today and go and have a break for the year and come back next year? And we've got a great guest lineup for next year. We'll probably, like I said, air this in January anyway, but any last minute thoughts?
I predict me and Brent might have a few beers this afternoon.
Put our Newcastle Christmas party, Newcastle Microsoft Christmas party.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah,
I predict that you guys will be hungover the next day. So there you go.
can't be too hard. My family Christmas is tomorrow, so I've got to behave tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can't get hungover if you don't get sober. So
What are you getting for Christmas, Brent?
Oh, I'm getting a new keyboard for my Mac, so that's kind of my big one. We've kind of tried to keep it pretty low key this year. Yeah.
Nathan?
I asked for a battery-powered whippersnapper because I've just keep getting the shits with the petrol-powered one, and
it will save your life.
Yeah, electrical, right?
God.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, when I bought my DeWalt Electrics whippersnapper, it was the best thing in
I got a DeWalt one. That's what I got.
in life, right? Just go do it.
Nice.
So good.
Yeah, that's what I asked Katie for. So I think hopefully she got me the DeWalt one so we can compare notes about what's good and good about it.
Yeah, awesome whippersnapper. And I got sick of petrol one. Matt, what about you?
I'm getting a Ninja Creamy. I don't know if you've seen those on Instagram. You can build like your own protein ice cream like that. So
that's
a sweet too. So I'm about sorting the rig out next year. I'm doing a bit more training, so I'm going to start making Ninja Creamy ice cream, healthier protein ice cream.
Protein ice creams,
that'll
yeah.
be me.
It's about to say,
Similar to Nathan, I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy making my own steaks. I enjoy making my own food, all this kind of
I
stuff.
have to have ice cream after our
forward to it.
steaks, Matt. Like, just
Easy.
come over to yours, have some protein.
Come back to Casa de la Rosemary, mate. So yeah,
that's an
you're
interesting
welcome.
one.
So,
I want to stay healthy, so I bought an ice cream machine.
I was looking at the macros. It looked pretty good. So I was like, here we go. So yeah, it'll stop my Messina addiction. Messina is literally across the road, which is way too close for Messina to be to anyone's. Yeah, that's me. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, so I put an order in for, I wanted a new leather bag for work. It's just something, backpack was getting a bit bulky for day to day, but ended up with a new car. So I don't know how that ended up.
That's a pretty big, that's cool.
That's a simple prediction to a bold prediction, man. So, yeah.
What'd you get?
Yeah.
I got an Audi RS3, so it's really nice. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really nice. So
Take me for a spin, mate.
very quick.
Yeah.
Very quick. Any car that has a drift button on it, to me, it's a great car. So, yeah,
Nice.
really happy with it.
Have to take it to the track, Scott.
Yes, on the cards. So, cool. All right, gents, have a fantastic break, and I'll catch you all on the flip side. Thanks again, and thanks for listening in. And